Hello everyone, this is Gage from Talk Time, and today I will be talking about the current state of video game releases. Around the start of 2022, a lot of people had a lot of optimism and hope for what we'll be releasing in that time, and they had the right to. There was Elden Ring coming out, the new Dying Light game was coming out, Gran Turismo, new Pokemon games, new Legend of Zelda, Starfield just got announced, the trailer came out for that. A lot of stuff was happening. And then once games started releasing, that's where everything went downhill. A lot of problems with video game releases today is that the developers and the companies that are working with the developers are rushing the developers way too much, and they are not releasing finished products. They are announcing the games way too early, and then when the games actually come out, they're not finished, and they just rely on first day patches or just over the time patches like every other week or so to fix the game so people will continue to play it. But by then, a lot of people have stopped playing it because the game was so bad at launch. Whenever 2023's Modern Warfare 3 got announced, everyone was hyped. They were bringing back a lot of the stuff the fans wanted. They were bringing back zombies. They were bringing back slide canceling, better movement, faster movement. They were bringing back older maps, better guns, newer guns, older guns, all this stuff, and everyone was hyped. But when the game released, it was the biggest disappointment ever. The campaign was only around 3 or 4 hours. The weapons were things we've already seen. There weren't many new ones. The gameplay was relatively the same besides a couple new features, which we've already had in past video games in the Call of Duty franchise that should have never been taken out. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Call of Duty. I love playing it. I play it almost every other day. But you can't defend the game. The developers rush the game because the companies don't give them enough time. There's a constant fight between which company gets to develop the new Call of Duty. And actually, on this year's Call of Duty, multiple companies worked on it. There were Sledgehammer, there was Infinity Ward, and I want to say one or two other ones. Infinity Ward is constantly taking over just each one because they're greedy, they're money hungry, and all of that. So they try and take over each one to put what they want in the game. And what they want is what they're doing is they are making the game easier, basically. They're making the game easier for new players, which is, it's not what people want. Because the way they're going about it is not good at all. There's this thing that people have found out that the company has never talked about. It is where, I want to say it's called like revenge killing, where if you kill a player and they respawn, they're going to respawn somewhere where they have an eye on you immediately the second they respawn, so they can get back at you for when you eliminated them, which is it's just not fair. It's inconsistent. And then another problem is the map spawns. These spawns are all over the place. They're never consistent. They're really unbalanced. I remember multiple times where I have spawned on the enemy side, where there was 5 people around me, and then they immediately knew I was there, and I couldn't do anything about it because it was 1 versus 5. There's nothing I can do. And then other things are like where the enemy spawns on the points we have. Say we have a designated point that we have control over, and then enemies start spawning there and then taking it away from us, and we can't do anything about it because the game has put their spawn point there now instead of where their points are. So it's just unfair, really inconsistent, and not fun. And all of this is just with Call of Duty. There are other games that have terrible launches, such as Starfield. Cyberpunk 2077 had a terrible launch. It was so bad. Another one was Battlefield 2042. And many other games. For example, Cyberpunk, it was in development for, I want to say like 10, 12, 13 years maybe. And when it finally launched 13 years later, everyone was super hyped. The game looked really fun. It was huge. And then it dropped, and then it did not have everything the game promised. It didn't have everything the developers promised. The game was the buggiest game you've probably ever played. It was just really lackluster. The game was disappointing, and everyone dropped it within a week because it was unplayable. The amount of bugs was it was insane. But one thing CD Projekt Red has changed, which was the company and developers that made the game, is they have actually fixed the game. The game is fully playable now. They are constantly releasing updates and patches for it. And then it even got so popular to where they made a show about it, and the show blew up, which got a lot of people playing the game more. And they even recently released a new DLC for it, which changed a lot of the game. It gave new experiences. It provided a lot of new stuff for people to do that have already completed the game, and it was a blast. It's really fun. And the same can kind of be said for other games such as Battlefield 2042. The game was really bad at launch. It was unfinished. It was buggy. But they decided to, it was EA, so of course they decided to keep in microtransactions, even though the game wasn't even finished, which made a lot of people mad. And then the game was again, really lackluster, but they have turned around a lot. The game is pretty fun now. There are still some problems with it that people recognize, but they are still constantly releasing updates and patches and new events and all that for people to play, which does help turn the game around a lot. But one thing cannot be said for Starfield. Starfield was in development for, I know it was a very long time. I want to say maybe 20 years. And then it finally released this year, and it was terrible. The game was super boring. It was just copy and paste missions. It was very lackluster. People hated it, and it was outright just terrible. Anyways, that's all for me. I would love to hear your opinion on all of this, and I'll see ya.